want to do is just find out some fun facts about Ellie. And the first one I want to kick off with is tell us something that most people wouldn't know about you.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, well, seeing as we're in the Bentley, we'll keep it driving related. I took 7 attempts to pass my driving test.
7 attempts?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why was it 7 attempts? Were you doing things wrong all the time, or was it more...
Do you want me to be accountable, or do you want me to tell you the truth? It wasn't my fault.
It was the instructor.
So the first one, I could have passed. It was sort of 50-50. I think he put a minor down as a major. I wouldn't have been surprised if I passed, but I wasn't that surprised if I failed. My second one was a disaster. I was trying to do that reverse parking thing, and I ended up there. Got the tree caught in the back window wiper, and I had to get out and remove this branch. And then I got in and just said,
"You got a tree caught in the back window wiper."
Mm-hmm. Well,
wait, how can
it's more like a bush.
Yeah, I'm sure that should have just been a minor.
That should have just been a minor. Guy's a complete dick. Yeah, so I remember saying to him, I was like, "Oh, can I do that again?" He was like, "Well, you can do what you want, but I still have to like mark you on your actions." And then I think there was another slight issue having to slam on the dual controls at a roundabout. So that one wasn't a surprise. And after that they became a blur. So that could tell you 2 things about me. It could tell you that option A, I'm a shit driver. Option B, resilient, determined, tenacious. Deluded. It's a bit like business, isn't it? You fail, you get back up. You fail, you get back up. But yeah, my sister, I think she passed on her, I want to say 14th, but it might have been 15th attempt.
Okay, so maybe it runs in the family.
Maybe it runs in the family.
Oh. How many times did it take Mark to pass his test?
Oh, fucking first time, innit?
First time.
He's one of them.
So he's balancing you guys out. Okay, good stuff.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to throw this right in here. What's the biggest risk that you've taken? Now, I understand that whatever you may answer might not sound like a big risk nowadays, but it might have been a big risk when you took that at the time.
Oh, well, we've done a few. So it is kind of property. Well, it is property. I spent my redundancy money on Protege. Every last penny we had on savings.
Okay.
But we went all in about 18 months ago. We sold our house. We moved into a rental. We knew what we were doing, so I'm not advising anyone else to do that because I'm not responsible for anyone else's actions.
Yeah.
But we were confident we knew what we were doing, and we invested all our equity in property deals and turned that equity into significantly more, which massively accelerated our success.
It's definitely something that you wouldn't recommend. Like, a lot of people have this idea that you have to go full-time in property and quit whatever you're doing and burn the ships and, you know, go and sell your house and put it all into property. And we all understand that property has a risk. We all understand that, sure, if you do the right due diligence, you can mitigate a lot of that. And we're never recommending people go and put their education on credit cards and loans or whatever that may be. And that's something that I've personally done in the past. I know other people have done. And
I think we're the minority though, and I think that's the thing, because I am a burn the ships. I do perform better when my back's against the wall. Like back in 2009 or whenever it was, 2010, when we had I mentioned it in the main podcast, but basically when we lost a significant amount of money through a property deal that we'd done, but we needed something like, I think it was about 40 grand, and we had a few months to raise it, and I was in a 22 grand a year job or whatever. And it's amazing what you can achieve when you've got no fucking choice but to achieve it. But I also know other people who, if they put 2 grand on a credit card, they'd be having anxiety attacks, and they probably wouldn't be able to perform, to be able to get the results that they needed to get, because they would be losing sleep and that kind of thing. So yeah, but for me, I can only speak for myself, and I didn't. Yeah, like we just don't see things like that as a risk. Well, we know it's a risk, a calculated risk. But I also think, well, I suppose this is a bit controversial in light of all the recent stuff that's happening, but what's that saying about you've got to be able to do what other people won't to get what other people don't have? So everyone just needs to be aware of their own situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's different risk profile for different people, and you know, it's not something that, like you just said, like I'm not recommending you do it. It's you've got your own life, you're responsible for it, and so forth. And sometimes people take things that mentors or coaches or people who are influencers take it literally, and that might be to the detriment to themselves. Like you're saying, that a lot of people can be stressed out because people are saying, you know, go and sell your house or whatever.
That's pretty much what Grant Cardone was saying, isn't it? Like that's the message.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes it can be too extreme.
Yeah.
And it worked well for me, being that type of person. I listened to all of this stuff at a younger age, and it does put you into situations where you are under pressure. There's no question. And some people deal well with that. Look at Conor McGregor. Yeah. All the pressure was on his shoulders, all the weight was on his shoulders, coming back and having to win a fight, and you know, like his career was on the line. If he lost that last fight, arguably he wouldn't be as big as he still is. He would start to dwindle. Yeah. You know, because people only really back winners. That's the fact. If you continue to become a loser, it doesn't matter how much of a entertainer you are out there, you know, you'll be forgotten about. The next winner is going to get the one that's going to get backed and so forth. So arguably a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and he was willing to put it all on the line. Mm-hmm. So it's risk profiling, it's understanding that if you've got the right support and you're willing to weigh up all the options, and you need that bit of pressure, you do, because you'll never stretch your comfort zone if you're just living within your means, being comfortable. There's no growth. Yeah. So it's just finding that balance. There really is. So next one for you.
Okay.
Since we're driving cars, what's your favourite car?
Oh.
Or your dream car?
So Mark, he likes his Porsches and stuff. I like what's that one that James Bond has? The classic one, DB9.
Aston Martin.
Yeah. I quite like Aston Martins. They're quite a classic car.
Very nice.
Because I was just saying this to Sean actually. No offence, I always thought Bentleys were an old man's car. What? But I think as their target market started dying off, they've had to reinvent and go a bit like younger and sportier and stuff. Yeah. It may be that I'm just getting older and I'm falling into that age category now.
Yeah. In fairness, I always thought that I would get a Bentley in my 40s or 50s. I never thought for 1 second I'd get it in my early 30s. So for me it was, just had the McLaren garage there and the Bentley garage next door, and I happened to go in and I was set on a McLaren, and then I looked over and I saw this model sitting in the showroom, and I thought, wait a wee minute, it looks more sporty, it looks different. Yeah. It doesn't look like an old man's car. And then when I test drove this, and I thought, well, maybe I can have best of both worlds. Maybe I can have it earlier and it still has a sportier kind of edge to it. And it's right, they've changed that range, I think, to try and compete with those in their late 20s, early 30s, I guess, that like the kind of sportier version and so forth, which is good.
I think in the meantime, though, I need to have things that can accommodate 3 car seats, double push chairs, and
that's why you need a 7-seater.
Just get a fucking minibus, a camper van.
That's it. Okay, so talk me through a deal that you lost, and it was one of those ones that you're really, it was like, I wish I never lost that, and what could you have done differently to make sure you never?
Okay, so it does fall in that category and it doesn't. So there was one that we put all our eggs in the one basket with, which was a portfolio, and it looked like it was going through. It was a multi-million-pound portfolio, and basically we had an investor who'd done a couple of transactions with us already, that we knew they were good for it, or we thought they were good for it. They seemed really, really keen. The process was, we went quite far down the path with it. They'd done a hell of a lot of due diligence, came to see the properties on numerous occasions, had funding in place, and literally just at the 11th hour they let us down, they backed out, and also backed out of a couple of the other deals that we'd already done with them. And basically we ended up losing the full thing. So it was our mistake.
What was the lessons learned?
Firstly, if somebody's that keen on it for that amount of time, they should be putting down some sort of a commitment fee.
Yeah. For
sure. And until somebody gets to a certain point in the process, we should be boxing ourselves in with one investor.
Yeah.
Because had we not done that, by the time we had went out and made more inquiries, that deal wasn't available anymore. And it would have been, I think our fee would have been about 70 grand for that. So we'd not put it into our cash flow forecast or anything like that, but mentally, I don't care what anyone says, you think that money's coming to you. When you get to a certain point in the deal, you start thinking, oh, nice one, this is going to be... So, yeah, I mean, it genuinely, though, so we were just talking there about how your tolerances and things like that improve, and your stress levels and things. So I think back to when I started my proper journey to now, to how that would have affected me. And I am still quite emotionally reactive, but very, very quickly I compartmentalised what had happened. I took the learnings, I realised where we'd have went wrong, and I genuinely believe, no bullshit here, that I got more than 70 grand's worth of learnings from that, because that was quite a good thing to do reasonably early in our career, to make that mistake.
So this is the mindset thing that I drill on. I think it's the most phrase that I use all the time, and I probably say it to death, the whole plan, do, review and improve. And I was reading a book there, and it's all about the Stoics and listening to their mottos and their mindsets around things, and it's all about that there's no learning learned if you don't take the time to reflect over a disaster, a challenge, a problem. You know, that we're all, as entrepreneurs, as high performance people, as business owners, I mean, come on, there's not a day that's going to go by that there's not something that you can learn from.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, most people, if a bad thing happens, like a bad deal or a deal falls through, they just forget about it. It's almost like thinking about it is too painful.
Yeah.
And even deals that go so smoothly, and you know, you should still reflect over that and go, could you still tweak a few things? You know, why was it going so smoothly? What kind of process can you put in place to make sure the next deal goes well? Yeah. And I think that's the true mastery of any craft. So it's good that you're saying that you think you got £70,000 worth of lessons learned out of that.
Yeah, because as we're structuring bigger deals in the future, there's just no way we won't make that mistake again. And it's quite funny because I know you and I spoke about this before, but when I reflect back, I find it a lot easier to reflect on what we so we're just in the 2020 than to reflect on what we've done wrong in 2019. I don't see that as negative, right? I don't need to sit here and tell you all the things we've done well, because the success we've had is fairly evident, and you know, we've made money, and yeah, I am proud of that. But there is so many things that we could have improved on, we could have done differently. We've not made any colossal mistakes, but there's so many gaps in what we are doing to finesse our business, to deliver the Rolls-Royce service to our investors, you know, to be seen as the best on the market. There's so many areas that we need to go to war with, and we are going to war with, and I personally think that's really positive, because I think, well, okay, if we've had all of that excess whilst making those mistakes, can you imagine what we're going to be able to achieve once we've addressed those and honed those and perfected those?
Yeah.
So some people think it is negative. They say, oh, they just want to, look at what you've achieved and things like that. And we do celebrate our wins, but you don't fucking dine out on them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, at the end of the day, if I celebrated every time I don't mean this to sound arrogant, but if I celebrated every time we got a property or whatever, you know, a celebration for us is a nice bottle of champagne and going out for a meal or whatever like that. I'd be a fucking alcoholic, you know?
Yeah.
You've got to just celebrate your wins, and I suppose maybe your bar for what you perceive as a win increases.
Yeah. So it starts to level
for us
up.
Now, it's not doing a buy to flip anymore. But if we buy one for the last sort of 18 months plus 2 years, we've predominantly flipped properties or done assisted sales, or we've you know, with a deal packaging for other people or portfolio building or what have you. And what's exciting now is that we're focusing on our own portfolio. Yeah. And I take a lot more interest in that because we're building HMOs. We're now starting to build our own wealth using investor finance. So to me, a win now is not securing a property. It's not even securing a buy-to-let for us. It's securing an HMO because we want to have a diverse portfolio. But why would you get excited about £300 a month positive cash flow when an HMO is £1,000 a month positive cash flow? So again, and then, you know, this time next year, I probably won't give a shit about HMOs. It'll be like, commercial to resi deal, brilliant. That'll be what gets me excited.
So, with all this that's happening, you in a short period of time, let's face it, you have had unbelievable success, right? And it's not been without its challenges, as you've been saying here. You've really thrown yourself into the firing line to make this work. There's been many ups and downs like anybody in this type of journey. But what do you think that's gone on in your head that's made you think differently? Because let's face it, every single person has got the same choices and decisions that they can make. Now sure, some people get the knowledge, get the support, but even at our events, they all, like we have a Protege running right now, you know, at the end of tomorrow, day 4, they all have the same knowledge. Sure, different backgrounds, different circumstances and situations and so forth, but they're all getting the same knowledge. They all know that they've got a spotless future, and whatever's happened up until now is in the past, and it's up to them to rewrite their future and whether they still want to hold on to that baggage or not. So Monday morning they get to work. So what was the trigger for you on the Monday morning after your Protege for you to go out and really do what you've done in such a short period of time? Because what you've done in a short period of time is much better than what I did my first 5 years. So
but you didn't have mentorship.
Yeah, true. And I'm sure mentorship
might be a little plug there for you, Paul.
I'm sure mentorship's
pay me later.
I'm sure mentorship's played a big part in you, but you've done the work. You know, I always talk about the importance of mentorship, but I never take credit for people going out and doing the work.
Yeah, because you mentor a lot of people, and not everyone.
Yeah.
But right. So there's a few different things. So firstly, I access the support, right? So I access the community, and I just submerged myself in it all. You know, I didn't miss a Zoom call. I don't think I've ever missed like a platinum Zoom call in 19 months or whatever I've been on the programme. I kept re-attending the events and stuff like that. So it was my level of commitment to mastery, because motivation only takes you so far after one of these events or a Gary Vee event or whatever it is, and you leave all pumped up, and then you go back and, you know, the fucking dog's been sick in the carpet and one of your kids is poorly.
That happened to me when I came back from Costa Rica, by the way.
Oh, did it?
So I just got Bailey back from, I don't know if you met Barry or not. He's a business partner of mine, and his wife looks after dogs and stuff, and just got a great little business, and so they take Bailey all the time, so it's like a holiday for Bailey. But I don't know what they've been fucking feeding him, because when he came back over my cream carpet, he was sick everywhere.
No.
So that wasn't fun. So yeah, I get it. It's a day in the life of being, you know, in business as well as real shit that happens to you.
It's the real shit that happens to you, but the probably the most important thing, and the reason I gravitated towards you guys in the first place, is a lot of the work on and the importance of the mindset, because it's not the happy clappy bullshit. It's the fact that somebody like myself, who struggles with depression to this day, realising that the only person that's going to come and save me is me. Yeah. Because I could give you so many reasons. Like, as you know, a week before we were due to attend Property Protege, my childcare for all 3 kids who were staying with separate people fell through, and there's so many valid reasons why it's not the right time. I had a 5-month-old baby, I had a 1-year-old. You know, why the fuck was I setting up my own business? We were just recovering from a near bankruptcy with the electrical business. You know, we just lost my father-in-law unexpectedly to cancer. So what are we waiting for? What is this perfect time? And I don't share that with people because I think that we've had it any harder than anyone else. But the reason that I'm so passionate about this, and I share my story on stage when I go to property networking events and things like that, is because I was going to say if I can do it, anyone can do it. That's bullshit, because I don't think everyone is wired to do it, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I want to share with people my own journey, and the fact that who do I need to become? It's the Darren Hardy thing.
Yeah.
Who do I need to become to get what I want? And when I was looking at myself in the mirror, I wasn't that person. You know, I was having panic attacks. I was struggling with depression. I was on all sorts of medication. I wasn't happy in myself. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. And that reflects in every part of your life, the other stuff, because life, if you're not happy in yourself, this isn't just about business, it's about everything. It's about the relationship you have with your children, the relationship you have with your husband or your partner if you're in a relationship. And it's about realising that the majority of people out there are just so fucking negative. They're just victims. Their job's shit, this is shit, that shit. They're just not realising that they're exactly where they deserve to be in life. And I looked at myself and I was honest, and I thought, I am exactly where I deserve to be. So I need to, this isn't bullshit, this is, I had to go to war with myself. And if people think that she's bullshit, then that's fucking fine, because they're not the target audience I want to speak to, because they don't connect with me and I don't connect with them, and I've got no time for fools, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I can only share my experience, and at the moment there's a lot of negativity around people sharing their story and stuff like that, and it made me kind of withdraw a little bit. And now I just think, no, fuck off, like this is my truth, this is my life, and I feel really passionately about mindset and the stuff that Billy teaches, and it's so raw and it's hard hitting. And he starts off by saying, the majority of people in this room are going to fail, because they are going to fucking fail, but you know what, they're not going to access the support, they're not going to do the fucking work, and that's fine. But for somebody like myself, that was it. Mark and I both we refused to live a mediocre life. When we obviously we had the issue with our development back in 2010, which nearly ruined us. And I pretty much had a nervous breakdown after all that, and I didn't want to continue to do property, and we didn't continue to do it. But then in 2016, so before the electrical business nearly went under, a big contractor went under, owing us a lot of money, and it came down to the wire whether or not we could keep trading. But seeing up until that point, like the passion Mark had to get out of bed for his own business, like leaping out of bed on a Monday morning kind of thing. Whereas that was an alien concept to me. I was just like, the alarm goes off on a Monday, and it's like, fuck's sake, that. And I think that is the majority of people. There's some people who do enjoy what they do, and there's exceptions to the rules, but that is the majority of people. So I was already thinking that being an employee wasn't for me. I knew I was worth more than that. I'd had quite a successful sales job many moons ago. I knew that when I had the drive and the passion, I was capable of achieving high things. Like I used to clean up when I was in sales. I won holidays to Barbados, to Amsterdam, trips to London, like cash incentives. I used to get champagne every week. We were like top performing teams and stuff like that. So I've had the taste of success, but very much within as an employee.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, well, how do I get that level of success again? And then I was thinking, well, one, I don't think for the hours I did, the salary, even though it was really good, if you broke it down to an hourly rate, probably isn't what I would be looking for. And I don't know. I wouldn't want to go back into a sales environment. I wouldn't want to work weekends. I wouldn't want to work evenings when I've got the children. So I was at a bit of a crossroads in my life, really. And then when I got made redundant, I went off on a tangent here actually, because when I got made redundant, it was like it was like the path was lighting up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then obviously a bit of law of attraction, started following you guys, we knew somebody who'd done the training and stuff like that. But basically we had a moment. So to answer the question, we had a moment in 2016, and Mark had a similar moment with his business partner with the electrical business, and it was a case of, right, okay, so what do we do now? We're just trading by the skin of our teeth. They had 18 lads on the books at that point. They paid them knowing that they wouldn't get paid themselves and that they might go under, which I just think says a lot about their, like, we never went under, so it was okay, they were still trading. And they said, right, basically, do they go back to, they were earning good money as sole traders, we were probably earning, they used to work away a lot, they were probably earning 60-70 grand a year, it wasn't shabby by most people's standards. That's decent money, and we thought, basically, no, there's no fucking way we went through that pain. And when I say pain, like, I was in hospital having a really bad pregnancy. Mark was working away. They wouldn't discharge me from hospital unless I had somebody home to look after me. Like, the whole thing was a complete nightmare. It was so stressful. And we just thought there's absolutely no way that we went through that not to be successful.
Yeah.
Not to make, and not just successful, but really fucking successful. And it sort of started to ignite. That's when the fire started to ignite again. But then, of course, life gets in the way, and, you know, Mark's dad got diagnosed with cancer and lots of other things. Well, not least 2016, 3-month-old baby in my arm, postnatal depression, trying to avoid bankruptcy and finding out I'm fucking pregnant again 2 days before Mark's booked in for the snip. So we didn't just get that fire back and then boom, let's start making money. We got kicked down a little bit further, and then we had to hit another level of rock bottom before we came back up.
So, from listening to all of that, there's obviously that taste that you've had in previous success, albeit being employed. Mm-hmm. You've went through a lot of stuff that would probably most likely make people defensive and never want to actually venture out and do anything that could be deemed as a little bit of risk.
Yeah.
Because near bankruptcy, potentially losing the business, your experience of buying a new build properties that you had to get resources, pull money together, and it could have taken you out, so bad experiences with property, all of that stuff, it's not like just one of those things, not even to those extremes, is enough to take people out the game and for them to play safe for the rest of their life. So the fact that you've had several of those personal challenges and everything happening days before you're supposed to attend, and all your plans, you know, changing and you know, how you're even going to make it and so forth. So you've been through so much. Not many people very few. So you've gone through that, you're getting the knowledge, you know you don't want that stuff to happen, you want to be focusing forward. So I guess that must have been a big driving force for you guys to do what you've done in such a short period of time.
It is 100%. I think that's why I say not everyone's capable of doing this, because you have to be tapped in the head. I do think you have to be tapped in it. You do need to be wired a little bit differently, I think, because other people might look at my life and they look at the sacrifices that we make, and it's not, you know, it's just not for everyone, and that's absolutely fine.
Well, in reflection, if you look at it, there's other people who I do know of, and it's a different type of person who maybe haven't, I hate using the word weathered because it can come across a little bit negative, but they haven't been weathered, they haven't had a lot of life experiences. This is not just younger folk, this is older people as well, because they've played it safe. They've went into the whole corporate way of living and getting good grades and working up the corporate ladder, playing it safe, and it comes a certain time where they're starting to get a little bit annoyed about doing the same thing over and over again, and maybe they're starting to see that they deserve a little bit more, but that's a slower, well, that's a slower process for someone to get their head around that, wait a minute, I want change. And they've probably played it safe, they probably are comfortable, they probably have a nice living, you know, they do want more, but they've never got, they maybe had some personal things happen in their life, because who hasn't, but they haven't had situations where their back's against the wall and, you know, they have to make this work, you know. And sometimes, like my 2 daughters, I look at it and I worry, I'm concerned, I'm like, will they have the same hunger as I had to make something? Because arguably they're not going to have to worry about money. You know, I always think about that when they turn 18, they'll have their home, they'll have their education paid for them, they'll have their first car, and after that it's down to them to fuck it up, you know. And
it's not a bad start though, is it?
Well, yeah, I think it's the least they can do. But when I talk about their home and their car, it's sure enough not going to be a fucking Bentley, you know. They're going to have to go and earn that. It's not, you know. Yeah, why the fuck not? You know, it might be a newer model Ford Fiesta, you know, from what I had. But the truth of the matter is I don't want them to feel entitled. I want them to know what hard work is. I want them to go out there and take risks. I want them to go out there and make mistakes. I want them to go out there and get a taste of verbally being punched in the face, so they can deal with the fucking what life is going to throw at you. You know, I wouldn't want anything to happen to my daughters, but I can't sugarcoat them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, so many people have been sugarcoated, wrapped in bubble wrap, and haven't had a taste of what it's really like to fall flat in your face, make mistakes, and go through some tough lessons learned. Even to this day, I'm going through things that will test and take people out of the game. But what it sounds like from you, you've rose to the challenge and you've used that as fuel to continue building things. And arguably where you're at just now, we were talking before we hit record on this, is that now you have more time with the family. Now you're revisiting things, and things are starting to change a little bit more.
Yes. So, but right, on the point you just made, that gives you fuel to get to a certain point, but then you need to recharge, right?
Yeah.
And so some people can get to this whether they've had hardships or not, and then they get to a point where they're sort of doing middle six figures like what Mark and I are doing, and that again is deemed as comfortable for a lot of people. So you need to have, and not everyone's got, and I'm not saying everyone needs to have, but if you want the level of success we have, you need to then have hunger for a greater level of success. And a lot of people get into a nice way of typical middle class way of living, and they're kind of like, I'm all right with this, and that's fine. So I think again, you need to be wired differently if you want to go to the very top of anything. And success for us isn't just about money, it's about as far as we can take things, and success isn't just related to business either. It is every aspect of our life, which brings me back to what you were saying. People forget that. Well, this is the thing, right? This is the whole thing about the community that we're in. You're obviously a bit of a fanatic's a negative word, but like a fitness fanatic, for want of a better phrase, which I'm not. But by being around you so much and listening to how you're talking about health and seeing the improvements you're making, seeing the improvements you've made from January last year when we did our fitness challenge, and you've just been consistent with it, and you've been down so many rabbit holes with some of the best in the business to really get a deeper level of understanding with things. Although I'm not at that level, it can't help but drag you up and make you realise that what I've realised when we were doing our end of year reflection and we were setting goals for 2020, we thought we were there to set some business goals, and the sort of epiphany we had was we hadn't actually enjoyed 2019. Okay, we'd had lots of wins, we'd had extreme highs that we, in some great moments, built some great relationships, but on a day-to-day basis we weren't very happy people. And okay, the property business is only a couple of years old, but we've been in the business with our electrical business and stuff for over 10 years, and we've not got into this I'm not trying to just wait for 10 years to have some really high level of success and millions in the bank to the detriment of now, to the detriment of being there for my children, being the best parent, making sure I'm providing the right things for them. And I don't mean materialistic things. And actually one of my biggest achievements last year was the impact that our positive mindset is starting to have on our eldest, Sienna.
Right, okay, good.
The young ones are 2 and 3, so it's a bit early for them, but Sienna's really been brought up with a life without limitations. She's starting to understand that she can achieve anything, and she's starting to believe that, and she doesn't mind being a little bit different to the other kids in her class either. She doesn't want to be a sheep, and I'm so proud of how she's turning out. But we know it's not easy. I'm still spinning plates, I'm still making sacrifices. Next week I'm away for 4 nights doing public speaking training, and that's going to be tough. That's like the maximum really I've ever been away from the kids. So the sacrifices are still being made, but this year I'm going to be a lot more balanced. So I'm going to be taking time off at the school holidays. I'll take the full fucking 6 weeks off.
Yeah.
My kids don't
coming to Costa Rica.
I'm coming to Costa Rica. If my kids don't get up at 7:30 in the morning, I'll get up at 4:30 if I need to and do a couple of hours work. Then they go to bed at 7. I'll do a couple of hours at night. But I'm not saying I will necessarily do that. I'm not a big fan of hustle and grind. I'm a big baby who needs 8 hours sleep. But I'm starting to do, like Goggins says, do something that makes you uncomfortable every day. So that's running. I fucking hate running. I'm shit at it. But I've been going out running for it's like 5.5k, but for me that's like Kilimanjaro, and I'm doing it every day, because when
so on that there, because because it's really good, because you just brought up Goggins, and doing something that you don't like doing, as in running, which I freaking hate running, but I force myself to do something. And what Goggins always talks about is doing something that sucks every single day, because what that does is it just changes your mindset. It means that you're not allowing yourself to be comfortable. You're fighting that little voice, and that's the biggest challenge in everybody's life. Day in, day out is battling our minds that's trying to tell us, no, it's too late, just go and cuddle up on the sofa and watch something. No. Well, I know you guys have got a guilty pleasure there, and I forgot to mention to Mark this morning that I know that that's his guilty pleasure. But so it's like doing uncomfortable things, doing those things that suck to have a better life.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, just jumping in there.
No, that was it really. So because everything stems off the same thing. So we realised our biggest goal for 2020 was our health, which is basically feeding into the family and the business.
It has a knock-on effect on everything. I always talk about this. As cheesy as it sounds, health is wealth. But the fact is that the way that is because if you're the best version that you could possibly be, dealing with your shit the best that you could possibly do, be in good physical shape, and everyone starts wherever they're at, but making a conscious effort to do that, trying to deal with the mental stresses that business can have on you, then you will come across as a better business person. You'll perform better in business. You'll perform better in your relationships. You'll show up better for your kids. They'll get the best version of you, and so forth. So it's great that's a conscious effort of what you're doing, and if that's the one thing you focus on, it's going to have a big effect in all areas of your life without a shadow of a doubt.
I need to get the Costa Rica beach bod.
Yes. Yeah, I think everybody's trying to get themselves in shape for that.
I'm not eating till April.
Brilliant. So as we bring this here to a close, tell us something that you... Okay, so you've just told your guilty pleasure. Is that your guilty pleasure, Love Island?
I'm not even guilty.
It's not even guilty. No, it's just my pleasure.
It's just a great programme.
What's funny about this year is that we were talking yesterday at the office, and Billy was there, and he even let us know that he gets engrossed into some of this stuff as well.
Geordie Shore, I think.
Geordie Shore. What is it with you guys?
That's just shocking. I don't condone Geordie Shore. I've got standards. I think whatever it is, sometimes, again, something we were a little bit guilty of is you can get a little bit too consumed, and we'd be sat there on a Saturday night talking about deals and investors, and it's like, for fuck's sake, we just need to, as much as we love it, we're passionate, it's not work. On the other hand, you do need to sometimes just can it, don't you, for a little bit.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I have different phases myself. Sometimes I just fire up YouTube and just watch some funny videos of different comedians and things, because just to decompress and to switch off from all the stuff that's happening. Maybe it is a little Netflix TV program or whatever it may be, from time to time. It's just whether you're doing things to the extreme or what, and when you're trying to build a life that you do not want to disappear from, that you love and you enjoy, it's not unusual to be thinking about business on a Saturday night and wanting to do things and talking about it. And it's great that you've got Mark and you guys are in the same wavelength, and you're doing everything for both yourselves and your family, and you love what you do, and you're getting a lot of fulfillment out of that. And it's the same with me and Alexa. We talk about business. It's almost our default.
Yeah.
And we will not turn around and say that's a negative thing, because we both love it, we enjoy it, it nourishes both of our minds when we talk about this. But at the same times, we love to go out and just have fun, and be big kids and go out and date nights and spend time with the girls and be big kids. And just this week here we took our team to Flip Out, and we're sitting jumping about in trampolines and assault courses. And
you won, didn't you? I heard.
Oh, I always won. But
you told me to say that, by the way.
I guarantee they told you that. So it's good fun. So it's good that you guys are living life. You've realigned your priorities. understanding when it's time to take sacrifices and what those mean to get what you want, and all that stuff. So a few parting words. What would be your parting words for anybody who's embarking in this journey of entrepreneurship, business, property, and all that good stuff?
I think with anything, you just need to commit. You need to go all in. Some of the cliches have been like the most powerful things for me, like your network is your net worth. Being around people who are further down the path you want to travel, whether that be business, fitness, whatever. Get around people that you want to emulate. Have that different level of chat becoming the norm.
Yeah.
And you have to be consistent as well. I see a lot of people coming out and putting in massive action, and then 2 or 3 months later it starts dwindling out. This is a long game, and you need to treat it as a long game. Whatever your sector, you know, it's not get rich quick. It's hard graft, sacrifice, and commitment. So yeah, you just sometimes need to roll your sleeves up and do the work.
Do the work. Awesome, Ellie. As always, been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.